And good evening, everyone. Welcome to TSSR Weekly here, live from Sports Corner at 124. I'm Dwayne Hewlett, Kenny Suter alongside. Kenny's going to be here briefly, and then he's going to take off. John Burton's going to finish. We got a lot of great guests on the show tonight. Coach Kerr and Coach Rexroth are sitting here within earshot, so we have to talk nice about them. Connor Watson, the winner of the IHSA Regional at the Macomb Country Club today, is here to be on the show as well. He's earshot too, so I guess we need to be nice to him as well.
Well, you know, it happens.
But the Bombers got a 3-set win tonight over the Southeastern Suns, so we're going to talk to the two coaches about that. And I turned the gain down a little bit on you, by the way, just so we could get rid of maybe some of the background noise. So that's why I didn't have the audio up loud enough, folks. I apologize for that. But should be a lot of fun here tonight. We're going to get Kenny out of here a little quicker because he's a college student. He's got things to do.
Very important things to do.
Very important things to do. So we're going to get right into the highlights for the week. We're going to start with Macomb High football as they dominated the Farmington Farmers tonight, or this Friday night, past Friday night, and a game that everybody expected to be
very close,
as good of a game as you're going to see all year, and the Bombers just flat dominated. So we'll look at the highlights from that. John Burton was on the camera for that. Kelly Sears was in, and then Jack Duncan doing what Jack Duncan does is he hits J.T. Jeter for a touchdown right there, and that was the theme of the night for the Bombers. And here's Duncan again, dropping back to pass, looking right side, pump fakes, and then up field it goes, and guess who? J.T. Jeter.
That cornerback on that side completely fell for that pump fake. As you can see, Jeter was already 15 yards behind him by that time.
Both of those plays, mind you, were that exact same thing. And there's Max Reiner for a 2-point or a touchdown run as well. And the Bombers were going away. You see 46-0. We're still in the first half here, folks. And here's Reiner with another touchdown run. That one's an 8-yard variety touchdown run for Max Reiner. And it was all Bombers all the time in this one. And here's young Mr. Drew Watson going for a nice long touchdown run as he breaks a tackle and then outruns the defense to the end zone barely. He got tackled about 3 yards in. But a great night for the Bombers, Kenny, and the Bombers 5-0, playoff eligible, and they demoralized the team that everybody thought would give them a good game. Their next test, a different test, is this Friday night against Elmwood Brimfield. Farmington comes in liking to throw. Bombers proved that they could stop that. Elmwood Brimfield's 3 yards in a cloud of dust. You played them in high school. You know how that is.
I hated every moment of there. The big thing with Elmwood Brimfield is you can't break through that offensive line when you're a defensive lineman because offensive linemen are foot to foot in that stance. They are right packed next to each other, tighter than I am to you right now. You can't get through there unless they let you through on some big play.
And they let you through on purpose. And if they let you through, you know you're in the wrong spot,
First concussion, right? Trap play.
So we're move on to West Prairie volleyball now as Camp Point Central was in the house. And I saw Camp Point Central at the Southeastern Suns Lady Classic.
This serve now in the back row. Served over from the Panthers. That's Jersey Brown who just checked into the game. Welsh will pound it through. Is it a good in? Yes, it did.
He got a 25-23 and a 25-19.
She'll hit that one kind of cross court. This one, Miller tries to tip over, but is rejected by Richardson.
On that corner,
this one bumped through. Towels there. Vernonic sets it back. Welsh will hit it through. She's able to find a home for that one.
A little distraction, 2 pushover kills as well.
As he updates
getting close here, though.
Can't point 2 points away from closing this out. Sullivan sets it outside for Welsh. She'll pound it hard and down. Falcon State Farm kill. Kinley Welsh still has the serve. She'll serve up another one. Nice soft serve. Sullivan's underneath it. Vernonic dumps it. Bowen tried to save it. They have a lot of heart, but it's looking kind of unlikely they need to go on a big run. Peters set to the outside. That's number 25 on the attack. Houston sit back in the front row from Hood.
Up close to the net. The Cyclones really are really good team still. You look at their record, it's not as much as you'd think from a West Prairie team, but they've just fallen down on sometimes during the games. They just need to keep it going, push through a little bit, and keep everything moving forward.
Well, BPC ran into the same buzzsaw that Southeastern ran into tonight as they played at Macomb last night. And I'll tell you what, BPC has struggled this season, and the Bombers have not. And there's Robinson, I believe that was with the serve. And the Spartans going to get a kill there. But as you can see, 20-6 in set number 1, and things just did not go the the Spartans' way as the Bombers just ran away with this one.
One thing with this Spartans team, however, that I did see, Daisy Crow gets another kill here. She's starting to come back into her, a little bit into her own this season, as she's kind of been on the backside being a helper, more of a setter. Now she's starting to use that height that she has to get through, get open, and get some kills in.
Yeah, Janet Lentini had about the best game as anybody. Had the only service point for the Spartans until Elizabeth Gilfillan scored several points here at the end that you're showing right here. And the Bombers are going to get the win 25-14, if my memory serves me correctly. And there is the final kill by Janet Lentini, but the Bombers win 25-14 in the final sets. So it was a 2-set win for the Bombers. And West Prairie got a big win over a previously one-lost South Beloit team who came in 5-1, actually 4-1, a game ahead of most of the teams in our area. They played a game against an Iowa team early in the season. But you saw that game, and
this game was insane. Because as you can see the first highlight, which will be a nice pass to Denver Mitchell.
Lets it fly.
Great
that one caught by Denver Mitchell.
However, you're
gets
seeing
out of one tackle,
but there was 14
down at the 14-yard line.
The last play was a touchdown for the
hands the ball off Owen Rigg. He's going to fight his way up in there for a Tom Conklin State Farm touchdown.
In that first half, all defense.
There was Owen Rigg on a touchdown, and
this is a fake punt.
It's going to be a soccer style. He's going to go for it. Carter hits right there to stop him. Get out of the way.
Shut it down.
Here comes the Cyclones.
Solos didn't even get anywhere near the end zone.
Hands it off to Owen Rigg in for his second touchdown of the day. The Tom Conklin State Farm touchdown.
Cyclones really taking advantage of it.
Down by 2.
It's going to be a quarterback keeper out so far side. 1 man to beat. Rolls him up. Out.
Stop defensively. A goal line stand for the Cyclones.
Right there, Jensen Laughlin played contained perfect.
And the ball off.
Be the last
Owen
Rigg. For Owen Rigg to take the lead and the win.
Tom Conklin State Farm touchdown.
Cyclones get back on the winning way.
Take the lead.
Coach McCormick talked to us later during that day. Really, that's kind of the boost that team really needed.
So that's the highlights for this week. We got a lot of people to talk to. We're going to start with the two coaches who are sitting here just off camera, chatting it up, laughing, smiling. And that's the cool thing about these two coaches. They've known each other a long time, and they're actually friends. And both of them were really good sports. When I asked them, hey, could we do this? It's Wednesday night. Would you guys be willing to come over? And Coach Kerr is also the principal at Southeastern. He also drives the bus at Southeastern. So everything that Coach Kerr does for that school is willing to come over here. We greatly appreciate it. Coach Rexroth building a great program at Macomb as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun talking to these two. We're going to take a break. Kenny's going to get out of here. We'll come back with Coach Kerr and Coach Rexroth in just a couple minutes here on TSSR Game Time Live's TSSR Weekly, live from Sports Corner at 124. Come join us if you're within earshot. We'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
Every day, we walk through these doors, not knowing what waits. It's not easy, but we do it every day because our mission is you. Providing you compassionate care and providing you the best possible patient experience. McDonough District Hospital.
I grew up in a small town in Missouri, and I like the feel of community. I like knowing the people that I take care of and knowing the people around me, providing care for someone that you know is in this community and helping them to get better.
MTC Communications is building a high-speed fiber network in our community, and we're putting priority on the areas with the greatest interest. That means we need your input to let us know you want us to build fiber in your area first. Experience the speed and convenience of fiber internet by visiting our special website and registering. Let us know you want fiber internet today and make your voice heard.
And welcome back to TSSR Weekly, live from Sports Corner at 124. I have Coach Kerr, Coach Rexroth, and I said during the broadcast, Coach Kerr, that we're the old folks here because we both watched her
we did.
Play.
Absolutely.
You coached against her, and I covered her.
Absolutely.
When she played at Colchester. So, I mean, I know you lost, but she should buy us an appetizer, shouldn't she?
She should.
Well, whatever you want, just put it out there.
We probably get the discount of senior citizen almost.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I'm saying. But both of you guys, I can't say enough how much I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your schedules. You guys both work and coach, so it's not like you don't have anything else to do. You normally drive a bus, for goodness sake.
Well, I'm one of two principals in the building, and we have some bus shortage going on. So I've driven. I think tomorrow morning will be my 9th day in a row driving morning route, and I've got an afternoon route. I think I've driven an afternoon route probably almost maybe all but 3 days. So we're trying to all hands on deck, as I know all schools are. So. Yep, I get some time with some kids.
So
on
what's
the bus.
better, the morning route or the afternoon route?
Well, I'm a night owl, so even though I've been driving early morning, I still go to bed at midnight. So getting up at 5:30 is not my favorite thing in the world. So I'm going to say the afternoon route's my favorite.
So do you drive the bus? Do you drive the team bus or anything?
No. Just a 15-passenger thing. I don't go beyond that.
Mm-hmm. So 15 and under, you're good.
15 and under, I'm good. That's my favorite one.
That's the way I started. When I coached golf before I started volleyball, they said, if you're going to coach golf, you've got to get your bus driver's license so you can drive to your matches. I'm like, okay, I can do that. I can drive a little white bus.
Sucker.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let's talk about volleyball. A game tonight, it's playing on the screen right now, and Macomb Coach Kerr will talk to you first. Macomb comes in not having lost a set.
Right.
They really handled you pretty well in set number 1, and you guys come out in set 2, and it's the Amanda Stevens show, which it is. Yeah. When you guys really need somebody, obviously that's who you're going to lean on. Right. But it's the Amanda Stevens show, and you guys dominate set 2. You've been coaching a long time. Was that even a bit of a surprise for you?
The only time that's ever happened in the history of my career was last year against Macomb as well. We went 3 last year. They beat us in 3, and it was exactly the same thing. We had one competitive set, and then they dominated 1, and we dominated 1. So it's almost a carbon copy. The only difference was the different order. Obviously, we knew coming in that they were very, very, very well coached and very, very, very good team. Obviously they hadn't lost yet, and riding a lot of momentum. And I listened to the thing before the game and talked about some Captain Rex Schroeder. I'm not sure what that thing was, but
that was new.
Yeah, that was new. Okay,
that was
all
new.
right.
So Top Gun theme.
Yeah,
on that one.
so we knew we had it.
I do want to point out though that Top Gun is fighter jets, and we're talking about bombers here.
That's true.
Yeah, the hanger. We gotta go with it.
You gotta go with it. Yeah, you do. I gotta give Justice Keen some credit.
Yeah.
He pulled it off pretty well.
Yeah, not bad.
Coach, I talked about during the early in set 2 when Southeastern jumped out. As I said, Macomb hasn't lost a set all year. How are they going?
Lost 1.
Oh, you did end up losing 1?
Yeah. We lost in the tournament.
Oh, well, I was told you hadn't lost any.
Steve,
Oh, Steve's not factual all the time?
Tanner gave me a heads up, said that he said we hadn't lost a set. I'm like, well, that's not true.
You lost 1 set.
Yeah, and he knows that because on the 3rd set, he sat on the bench and we won pretty handedly. And he was like, I guess you just needed me.
That ruins my day. I thought we were only going to beat him.
I know.
Oh, sorry.
You should have just let it go.
Sorry. I mean, we haven't lost a set.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, you hadn't lost many.
Yes.
You'd only lost 1 to that point then. Instead of 0, it was 1.
Yes.
Back to my question, which isn't as important as it was, but kind of lost some of its zest, I think. But
Sorry about
I thought that I was going to say that you guys, how much resiliency do you have? Do you come back? You started to come back a little in game 2, and then it fell apart. And a big win, 25-11.
That's big.
So you come, that is real big.
Yes.
And then you come back and set 3. So then it's a real big response deal, right? I mean, your team has to respond at that point. You have to be happy with how they did.
I am. After we won the first set, I told him, I go, they don't quit. Coach Kerr, I've played against him and I've coached against him, and I said he can always find a way to get him to go to the walls and go everywhere and get it up and play. And I said, so never, ever count them out, because it's always going to be up, it's going to be going, and they're going to be coming at you every game. So after that second set, it was kind of told you it was coming. And, how are we going to respond? And that's what I've been happy to see, because, I mean, to lose, they dominated in that second set. And we couldn't come out. Amanda she came out swinging. She was ready to go. And it looked like we were gassed. I was nervous about the third set because it looked like our legs were dying. It looked like we were breathing hard. So, but the third set, we just kind of said, hone in and calm down a little bit and stop playing so panicky. I go, you're playing all over the place. Go back to your training. Go back to basics, and let's see what we can do there.
Well, I thought that it was pretty cool as a whole because it was kind of the Kennedy Adair show in the first set.
Yes.
She kind of dominated that. And then Amanda Stevens says, hey, wait a second, I'm just as good.
Yes.
So she dominates set 2. So then you expect maybe set 3 is going to be those two battling it out. And here comes Allie Thorman out of nowhere. And Allie Thorman kind of became the thorn in your guys' side in set 3.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it's awkward talking because usually you talk about your team and you say when you lose you say you play poorly and then you don't give the other team any credit, and when you win you say you played great and the other team played terrible. So a little awkward here, but I mean I know Bree will agree that just it's such, especially at the high level that we're both at, and I think we are at a high level. You know, both of us really good, really strong teams, and the key is so important to play offense, and you know. The second set, we played lots of offense because we passed the ball better, and that makes them more tentative, and we're serving all of a sudden we're serving with more confidence because we have a lead, and all of a sudden they're playing defense, and that makes it so much tougher for them and so much easier for us. And then you have the reverse at the third set. You know, all of a sudden, you know, they get a 2 or 3 point lead early on, and you know that gives them confidence, and that puts us back on our heels. And all of a sudden we're playing defense, and it's just the momentum is just such a real tangible thing in volleyball, and it really it's hard to explain. It really is sometimes because you can't imagine a team that's able to beat someone else 25-11 also lose to them by 25-11, and it just happens over and over again in volleyball. It's an odd thing, but no, just you know, obviously lots of credit to them. They stepped up when they needed to. I mean, it's one of those things. You know, got to give them credit. You know, they made the plays, and you know they gained the momentum, and they did what they needed to do, and good for them. And I'm glad they stayed undefeated. I wish we would have obviously put that second set loss on them as well as the first. But you know, it is what it is, and you know we gained a lot from the match, being able to kind of see what we need to do differently. And I know she probably found some things during their second set that they need to address as well. And you know, I think you talk about the individual players, and it's so fun watching the great players play. You know, you look at Amanda, what she was able to do, and Kennedy. I mean, those are Division I volleyball players playing, you know, right in the backyard, and it's really fun to watch. It's I know she'll agree that it's really just a joy, and we're blessed very much to have that, being able to coach those kids and to kind of watch that transpire before our eyes.
One of the things that you've coached against a long time, a coach that you played for when I've covered volleyball with Terry Paul through the years, one of the things she likes to say is stay in system. You have to stay in system. I found myself looking back to that in set 2, you guys kept them out of their system. The wrong person was passing the ball. The wrong person was setting the ball. I mean, all that stuff. And then they did that to you in set 3. That's kind of how this match went, wasn't it? It was whoever got the other team out of system first or forced an error was the one that got the point.
That's what we really strive to do in practice. I mean, we're trying to practice more out-of-system play and being comfortable in out-of-system, but fighting for in-system play. And I thought the second set we were terrible at out-of-system play. I'm like, we're panicking when we're out-of-system, and we need to still play smart and use the out-of-system. You know how to do it. We just forgot how to play out-of-system. And Coach Terry is all in-system play. You fight to stay in system, and that's what we're striving to do. But it's not easy when they're hitting hard.
The thing you mentioned that I felt like when you were out of system in set 3, it was Sarah Stuffelbeam that stepped up in a lot of spots. I saw her do numerous bump sets in set 3, and then she also had the kill to end the match from the back row in set 3.
Awesome.
I mean the libero. that was awesome. Yeah, but I'm saying she seemed to step up in that role when you needed her to, especially in set 3.
And set 3 she looked a lot more comfortable in there. And Caitlin was doing a good job of digging up the tips. They did a good job of still taking our setter out of the offense. And Sarah has some of the best hands in the gym, which is what's really nice about her being in the libero. And then she has she's calm. She's steady. She's my calm and steady girl. I sometimes want her to be all amped up, but I gave that up a couple years ago, and she is, she's the catcher on the softball team, and she's the point guard in the basketball team, and she's leading our defense for the varsity, and she's a nice, solid player for us.
The thing about in-system and out-of-system, too, is if you're out of system, you still have to be aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, especially against a team with the firepower that they have, the team with the firepower that we have. If you go out of system and start getting tentative and start dinking around, you're going to get punished, And so that's the biggest thing, is finding a way somehow to be out of system but still, put a good swing on the ball or put the ball in the right spot. Just because if you don't, it's just like serving too. We had some girls I thought didn't serve as aggressive as they needed to. As soon as you give them a lollipop serve, you're going to eat one. So It's just really that whole concept of staying on offense and trying to limit the times where you're just playing fluff volleyball, where you just give them something easy, is just so important. It gets good teams.
I thought a few times, especially for you guys, Coach Kerr, when you had free balls that you were going to send back to the other side, you had a couple of those drop on Macomb's side because of placement of the free ball. They weren't just sending a free ball across, right? They were trying to find a corner or find a spot that would get them out of the – and I thought some of your girls did a good job with that.
Yeah, that's
you don't want to have to do that, right?
Exactly, but you're right. You want to pass it to the setter or pass it to a corner and try to get some communication situations going on. Sometimes the short middle's open and it cause them some communication, but. No, so we had a couple, and Abigail was actually talking about. That's the whole thing she was bragging about, was that free ball she sent to the corner that they dropped. So, but yeah, you're right. It's again last resort, but sometimes you just have to do it. It is what it is. So
let's talk about Kinsey Griswold. She has played. We've talked about her on numerous occasions. Mm-hmm. And I think Coach Rexroth can look at Kinsey Griswold as a freshman and say, that's somebody I'm going to have to pay attention to as we go along. She played well for you again tonight.
She did. And we've talked before. She's played, she's stepped in and set for us there for those 5 matches when Abigail was out with her concussion. And she's played, obviously she's played some middle for us for a while. Then we kind of settled on having Abby go back to the middle again after between when we've left us, So she's playing left again, and she just – it's funny because she's such a different player in the JV match as she is in the varsity match. She takes on the leadership role in the JV match, and she's way less tentative and way more aggressive and smiles more and is a better player than she gets in the varsity match with the older girls. And sometimes she takes a back seat, but we're working on that, and we're trying to do some things to try to free her up with some swings that are maybe not against a big block, like trying to run some quicker stuff, kind of in the seam a little bit. And she got one finally in that third set, I think, and that's something that we try to work on. And it's a numbers game at the net, and if you're able to, obviously other teams have to key on our middle so much that if we can get any offense at all from the outside, then it's a bonus for us. So the more she can do that, the better we'll be. That's one thing that. The disadvantage of us being small at the pins is that we don't have the luxury of being able to just throw it up high on the outside and swing at it, and that hurts us offensively. It also hurts us defensively. We can't block very well. We don't get a lot of touches, against good solid offense. Their outsides just crunched us all night, down the line, and that puts so much pressure on your back line. Are you gonna go get the line? So it's just really, really tough. And I thought our girls did really well. There's a lot of scramble plays and a lot of good defensive plays. And going back to Kinsey, she's only going to get better and better and better. She's someone who, I tell her at practice every night, you got to be louder. You got to be more aggressive. You're going to tell me as a junior, man, I should have done better. I should have done better as a freshman. Let's just do it now. Let's just fix it now. Because she has a lot of ability and a lot of strength, and she's going to be someone who, like you said, she's going to make a name for herself very quickly, I think.
Coach Rexroth, you have some players that step in. Kennedy Adair gets a lot of the credit, but a lot of the talk. Let's say that she gets a lot of the talk. Duncan's playing well for you in the back row. She served well for you tonight. Yep. There's players that get forgotten. Even some of the players. Luke Karanen comes in. Mm-hmm. She plays well. Stortson plays well for you on the outside, and opposite of Adair. So you have so many more players than just the players that get all the talk, right?
Yeah, and we have depth on the bench too that can come in on that too. That's one of the benefits of Macomb volleyball and coaching for our district. We have 3 levels going up, and the freshmen are playing hard and get a lot of touches, and then the JV team is really they're doing really well this season. So they have depth that provide, and then the varsity's up there. And like you said, each hitter is able to swing. We're just trying to teach all the hitters to use different types of hitting and swinging. A lot of my Macomb girls, they forget they want to put it down on the 10-foot line every single play. And I'm like, oh, man, guys, you got to start thinking small sometimes and go for the dinks and the tips. And they're really responsive to that, and we're trying for that. But, yeah, we have a lot of depth. I mean, like I said, at one point in our lineup, I have 3 previous liberos. Quinn was a libero at one time, and then Ellie Duncan was a libero, and then Sarah. So that's 3 people on that deep line. We've been scoring. We've been going on some runs with Quinn's serve, and I think it's because we got that strong back line there, and then we have the front line that's putting it down. I have new players. Taylor Adair, Kennedy's little sister, is playing middle this year, and I'm getting her out of her comfort zone. She likes to be on the outside, but I keep trying to tell her that she can be a pretty big threat in the middle if she wants to be.
Well, before I let you guys go, I want to we mentioned earlier, and I think Coach Kerr mentioned this, 2 great programs here. Coach Kerr, I'll start with you. You've been around quite a while, just like I have, and for so many years, Macomb volleyball was, no offense, Coach, but was nothing for anybody to worry about for so many years. As a coach who loves the sport and loves to see girls of every school succeed.
Right.
I know you are super impressed and super happy to see what Coach Rexroth's doing.
I'm really proud of her, really. I mean, that sounds kind of corny, but I'm old enough I can say that. And I remember, this is my 27th year, and I don't know how long. How long have you been doing it?
For Macomb?
Yeah.
I think 10, 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I not that we played them every year, but we didn't lose to Macomb for probably my first 17, 18 years of playing, and all of a sudden now we can't beat them. So she has a great thing going, and you knew she was going to. I remember Dan Brown's wife was coaching with you for a while, and I remember literally going around just saying, just wait. Their time's coming. They have great young coaches, love the game, know the game, passionate, just intense as all can be. And I said, just wait. And obviously it's happened, and she's talks about all their levels. I mean, they're great at every level. Their JVs had a fantastic year. Their JVs dominating JV in the area, and I think were they in the varsity tournament one time too? And
we got 4th in the varsity.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, really a great thing going, and she's doing really well. And it's one of those things where you don't like losing, but you like seeing. You like seeing good volleyball, and I think that not only is, obviously she's doing a great job, but you look at what they're doing in Illini West. You look at Central's got a good year this year going. Brown County's good. So really the area I think is really strong. We talked about that in our tournament, and just for a bunch of small towns and cornfields and bean fields, I think there's really a good kind of pocket right here of volleyball going on, and obviously Macomb has made a name for themselves and really, really, really good.
Well, I've been around here a long time too, and I feel like the reason why, obviously Coach Rexroth's the reason, but the reason why all these teams continue to improve, and I've said this with Coach Paul during interviews, I think I've said it with you during interviews, and you got Seth down at Unity. There's been a core of really, really good coaches, and I include you in that have forced all the other teams to either get better or get their butt kicked every week, right?
You're right.
So that forces them to find coaches to get the program better. She's a disciple of one of those, that trio, right? So she's come from that. And Coach Rexroth, you have to feel really good about what you've done at Macomb, but you look at Coach Kerr, and he built a program, had a program, built a program, and continues a program at Southeastern at a school that's way smaller than what you have to work with.
Yeah.
He's
a lot. I know, and that's what I keep saying. My little sister Tara played for him too, and she was here tonight, and we still reminisce about playing you. And you were always one of our favorite teams to play. I always like seeing. Coach Paul. She's so intense and so aggressive that she's pretty quiet. And then we'd go against him. We're like, whoa. He's
loud.
But it would be but they would just run to the walls. Ever since I was young, I still remember that about Southeastern. No matter, they are small. There is a small community, but that community is so strong, and they're together togetherness. You can see it there. And they just fight together, and that's what's fun to play against.
I would imagine that your goal is to be here or be somewhere, hopefully Macomb. If you're Macomb people, you have to hope that you're here. Coach Kerr, what is this, 25 years?
I think it's
27?
I think it's 26 for
26?
coaching volleyball. I coached golf for 2 years, and I think this is my 26th, I believe.
So
for
you're
volleyball.
only she's only 14 years away from that.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you can have Macomb being as successful as long as Southeastern, that would be success, wouldn't it?
Yeah. You know, thinking back a long time ago, it just seems like a long time ago. You know, Marcy Lance has been my assistant now, and she's been with me. She and I were the ones that went and got a bunch of fourth graders and took them to. We took 90 girls from Macomb over to Galesburg when they were 4th, 5th, and 6th in junior high, and drove over there twice a week to go play. And then we started them over here in Macomb, and just really finding, like, I wanted the girls in Macomb to feel what it was like to be in a program where the whole town is supporting you and being there. And that's what Marcy and I goal was when we started it a long time ago. It feels like yesterday. It was a long time ago.
Time flies when you're having fun. And I think both of these programs, as long as Coach Kerr is probably at Southeastern, it's going to be the same way. I mean, you guys have built a program to the point where you don't have to have the best athletes to be successful, right? If you want to get to state or win state, you have to throw in a couple really good athletes, right? But you've got the groundwork now that you're always going to be in games against 75% of the teams in the area, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's just – I think it helps that we're doing junior high as well. And, you know, it is one of those things where we've just been so blessed to have – you know, I had some people just talk, you know, how do you get your kids to be winners? How do you get your kids to learn how to win and expect to win? And that's just a mindset. And I mean, I don't know the answer. I mean, I guess win for a long time and watch kids that are older than them win, and then it just kind of happens. And you know, she's obviously experienced that as well. And you know, there's been lots of times when, you know, we haven't had the best athletes, and it seems like we're always 1 or 2 players short. You know, even this year we're starting 2 sophomores and a freshman, you know, and it's one of those things where obviously one of the sophomores is really, really good. But at the same time, you know, it doesn't seem like we ever have like a core group just because of our size. You know, last year when we got second state, we had 2 seniors, 2 juniors, and then, you know, a freshman and a sophomore starting. So it's just one of those things where you kind of build a mindset and build a program, and you're able to, even, and it starts in junior high, being able to maybe compete. And, you know, for me, it's just being solid and keeping balls in play and not beating yourself. And I think that when you have the, you know, maybe when you have inferior athletes, that works really well. You know, we did some nice things, I thought, tonight that against a lot of teams would have been way more effective, right? You know. But you know, when you're going power for power, then you got to find a little bit more. So, but yeah, I think that's very honored that that you say that about our program, and obviously hers too. So it's just something we take a lot of pride in, and you know, lots and lots of hours in the gym, and you know, hours away from my kids' stuff and everything. So it's nice to be appreciated and recognized for something like that, because it's something that we've poured a lot of time in for sure.
Coach, Rexford, you've been through that, right? You had Coach Paul as a coach young through, right? So you saw how that worked, right? So I'm going to imagine when you say you started those 4th graders and wanted to get them that way, you knew that starting them young and getting that groundwork set is how to make successful program,
right? Yeah, it's that consistent language and consistent drill work, you know, and that's what we were striving to do. We would be at Washington Street on Saturday mornings from 8 until 5 o'clock, and Marcy and I would be coaching all the teams all day long, and just, you know, sometimes we'd duck under the net and coach both teams. And it was just to try to get consistent language. We wanted them to understand at a young age we needed a lot more than just one leader and one big girl. You know, you're at a district in a community where you can have 6 or 7 leaders in the same class where other towns can't around here, and that's an advantage we needed to take advantage of. And the girls really bought into that program, and the parents bought in, and the community bought into that. And that's the biggest thing, is that common language and common drills, so that when we keep going to each next level, they're ready to go.
Well, guys.
Well, I'm not dedicated enough for 8 to 5. I get tired from 8 to about 10:30 is about all I can
go. So again, that was a while ago.
She is a lot younger.
Yeah,
than
good point.
If
good
she's
point.
already,
I don't know if I can do it now.
If she's already past that, we have a good excuse to not be there anymore.
Sure.
That's all I know. I couldn't have done that when I was 35 or 30, so I'm not. You guys both have me beat, so I greatly appreciate you guys coming. It was awesome having you come over here. And did you buy her onion rings?
We mutually agreed to buy no. She said
he said no. I told him I would buy.
I said no, and so we didn't want to be accused of gambling or anything like that. So I would keep it clean. So
I don't even have anything to say to that. I could have gotten you guys fired just by saying.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I apologize. They did not. I repeat, they did not wager anything on this match.
True story.
Yeah. So at any rate, guys, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Good luck the rest of the season. You'll probably be stuck with me for most of the home games for both of you. So I apologize. I apologize for that.
I'll tell you what, you do a great job. I mean, it's such a blessing for our community. We have a lot of people that watch you, and they hate it when they have to watch my Facebook feed because it's so terrible compared to you guys. So really appreciate what you guys have done and everything followed us. So.
Did you see what Angela did to Evan? Evan, eye in the sky.
Oh, that was me. I said
was that you that said that?
Yeah, I
thought it was Angela. So it was you?
She might have reposted it.
I made a drinking game today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, every time I said Evan, eye in the sky, you had to take a drink. I said it could be soda, but you might be like caffeine buzzed by the end of the game. So I just started saying how many times I could say it by the end of the night.
Yeah.
So he's a good kid.
He does a good job.
He does a good job as we're watching it right now on the big screen here. So this is the part you don't want to watch.
Well, I watched it the second set, and I've kind of turned my head. And I've kind of been paying attention to you more than the third set.
Yeah, the third set's up there now, so we'll ignore that. But guys, I greatly appreciate it. We'll let you get out of here. You can get something to eat if you want to, and maybe you can get home and get ready to drive the bus in the morning.
Yeah, you get that.
Alarm goes off at 5:30 every morning. So
whether you want it to or not.
Whether I want it to or not.
We'll be back on TSSR Weekly right after this.
Thanks.
Every day, we walk through these doors, not knowing what waits. It's not easy, but we do it every day because our mission is you. Providing you compassionate care and providing you the best possible patient experience. McDonough District Hospital.
I grew up in a small town in Missouri, and I like the feel of community. I like knowing the people that I take care of and knowing the people around me, providing care for someone that you know is in this community and helping them to get better.
And welcome back to TSSR Weekly. Connor Watson alongside. He's the professional golfer at Macomb High School. Under par, is that what I heard?
Yep, 2 under.
2 under par to win the IHSA Regional at the Macomb Country Club today. And I want to point out Jack Duncan is sitting here. Now, Jack came and was on the show last week. You've got a whole crew of guys that are sitting here just staring at you.
Yeah.
I want to point out he did a good interview, but he didn't have anybody looking at him. Nobody came and harassed him. Nothing. You're under pressure, so just ignore those guys or whatever, and we'll go from there. But I appreciate you coming up here. And did you go to the volleyball game?
I did. Yep.
That's a pretty good game.
That was a good game. Yeah.
Fun to watch.
Yeah.
So, how was golf today?
It was good. It was a little chilly in the morning, but finally got it going and made some birdies, so it was fun.
Was it windy today?
No, it wasn't too bad today.
Wasn't too bad. So better than if you'd have played yesterday or the day before?
It was real
windy.
So
you guys play Macomb Country Club obviously quite a bit.
Yeah.
Is that how much of an advantage was that for you at the regional?
It's a pretty big advantage. A lot of people that come in and play that course, they all talk about how they hate it. So it's nice that we get to see it a lot and get to play it.
So what's next for you? You're obviously the medalist at the regional, and the team won the regional, so you guys are all moving on, right?
Yep, we're going to sectionals Monday at Coyote Creek in Limestone.
So how does this work? I'm pretty sure that when some Bushnell players went individually last year, moved on, they went and played a practice round. Do you get to go play a practice round or two?
I think we're going Sunday to play a practice round before the round on Monday.
Is there a limit to how much you can play? Could you go 2 or 3 days if you wanted to?
Yeah, we could go however long we wanted to.
Okay. So what's your expectation? Have you played that course before?
Yeah, we played it earlier this year. We didn't I think I shot like 76, but we didn't play as well as we would have liked. But it's a course that we're familiar with, so.
So will the second or third time you're there be easier then?
I hope so. That's the plan.
That's the plan. So you got at least another week of golf, probably maybe a couple more weeks, because you've been kind of the main kid. You've been at the top of the leaderboard for the Bomber squad, but you guys have had a really good team performance throughout the year.
Yeah, we have a very deep team. We've had a deep team actually for the last 4 years. I think my freshman year I was the 6th man, so I just worked my way up to the 1 spot, and everyone filled in behind me.
I think they're playing it overhead right now. Can you hear that?
I can, yeah.
It's going to feed back maybe or something. I don't know. They're all here sitting there giving you earphones, trying to make you hear. But the thing is, what they don't understand is we're talking, and they're listening to what we said like 45 seconds ago.
Yeah, they were watching Coach Rexrod earlier, and there's a little bit of a delay on it.
Yeah, there's a little delay. That's what going through YouTube will do. But so you got a few more weeks of golf, hopefully, right?
Yep.
State is a couple more weeks away from that. So then basketball comes. So are you able to mix a little basketball in with your golf throughout the winter?
Yeah, I play in a fall league on Sundays in Bettendorf, and then me and my brother normally go up and shoot at the field house about every night.
So how does either one affect the other too much? I mean, does shooting hoops affect your swing at all? I mean, I know I coached baseball, and you play baseball.
Yeah.
Being a really good golfer and a good baseball player, does that affect your swing at all?
A lot of people say it does, but I don't really worry about it.
Is it just because you got a good coach?
Yeah, we do have a
good
coach.
That's why it doesn't affect it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Coach Duncan is here. So a good team effort, though, and people understand that golf is obviously an individual sport, but you have to support your team, right, as you go along. How much is that an important part of keeping your team, going to Justice or going to one of the other players and saying, hey, this will do this, or if we're here, this green's fast, or is there a lot of that goes on, or do you guys even get a chance to do that throughout the day?
We'll get backed up a little bit where we can talk to each other, but golf's a lot different than other sports. You can't make a substitution. You got to stick it out the whole 18 holes. So we do definitely try and pump each other up, though.
Yeah,
sure.
Get to talk a little bit in passing. Do you get to talk to Coach Duncan at all through the day very much? I mean, you're spread all over 18 holes, right? So and you've only got 5 or 6 kids, so it's probably hard to find everybody at a given time, but you get the chance to talk occasionally.
Yeah, he comes over quite a bit and just asks how things are going, what we need to work on. So, yeah.
So now we move past golf and basketball season. Obviously, people are looking at you to be a leader or the leader of the team this year. A lot of young kids probably going to come up that are going to be – you guys might look a little different this year. What are you expecting out of the basketball team this year?
We should be really good this year. Last year we kind of got unlucky in the postseason. We had injuries, and then Caden was hurt, and Jack was sick. So we were a little short-handed, but this year I'm excited for it.
I know you guys are having some success in the fall. Football teams playing really well. If things go well, they'll play into the fall. Your golf will be a little shorter, but does that concern you at all going into basketball that, hey, some of these guys are going to not get maybe a rest period before basketball starts? Or the nice thing about basketball is it really doesn't – I mean, obviously you want to win every game, but if you lose a few early in the year, getting to where you need to be, it's okay, right?
I want them to go as far as they can. They're my friends. I want them to go far in the playoffs for sure.
So they're all here supporting you. Were they at the golf course at all today supporting you?
No.
Were you done before you got out of school?
Yeah, we were done before school ended, so they couldn't make it out today. But our home tournament on Saturday a few weeks ago, they all came out to watch a little bit.
Did they bring signs or
No, they don't really know you got to be quiet, so they got to be quiet down a few times.
That's why you hold signs up. You can hold signs and, like, yell on a sign or something.
Yeah.
Is that legal?
Maybe next time they'll have to do that.
Yeah, there you go. Well, let's talk about what your expectations were coming into the golf season. I mean, I think everybody kind of expected you to be the number one, from what I understand. Mm-hmm. So what was your expectations coming in, and have you got to or done what you expected to do?
I knew that coming into the year, we lost a lot of pieces from last year that went to state. We lost Connor, Glenn, Griffin, and Connor was the one. Me and Glenn flip-flop between 2 and 3, and then Griffin was the 4. So I knew we were going to have a lot of people that stepped up, but we did have a lot of people that stepped up, and we hit a rough patch in the middle of the year where we didn't play as well as we liked, but it's kind of nice to put it together now for the postseason.
Some of the other kids on the team that were part of the regional championship today, who are they and how did they do? I heard Coach Horrell say sounded like they were close to par or just over par.
Yeah, Hunter shot 76. I think he was like 6th place. Justice was 82. And Brady Scalf was 88. And then Elliot Parkins and Nick Parkins were both like mid-90s.
So you guys are coming together at the right time, right? Everybody's kind of picking up the pace. You know, in other sports, you work towards something. You try to do something to get better. When you started the season, have you worked on a specific aspect of your game to try to improve?
Definitely putting. I was not a very good putter, but I've been working on it. It's been getting better. So
how do you, outside of obviously putting a million times, how do you work on putting?
Well, our assistant coach, John Michael, he went to IMG Academy to play golf. So he has a lot of putting drills that he puts us through that we all hate, but we know if we do them, we'll get better. So.
And it's really about repetition, right?
Yep.
And doing it the same way every time, right? Mm-hmm. So if you hold your feet wrong, your feet are wrong, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to do it correctly, you have to keep everything the same. How hard is that? Practicing, it's kind of like swinging a baseball bat, right? If you swing it properly a million times, when it comes time to hit a ball, it's done right.
Yeah.
Every time you get out of that properly, it messes you up, and you have to get back into that. Golf is pretty much the same way, right?
Yeah, golf, I mean, if you do one thing bad in your swing, you're going to not get a very good result. So it's it's key to keep a nice repetition to make sure you do what you want with your shot.
So how many practice putts do you think you've taken this year?
Thousands, probably.
How many practice drives have you taken this year? Less or more? Less
Definitely
or more? Less drives?
Yeah.
So you really have practiced the putting a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your longest drive of the year? Do you know?
If I hit one good, I can probably get close to 300 yards, but probably on average, probably like 275, 280.
Okay, so what's your longest putt of the year?
I actually made a pretty long one today on hole number 7 for birdie. I'd probably say 40 feet.
A 40-foot putt?
Yep.
I'd have to hit it 3 times to get in it from 40 feet.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, Connor, I appreciate you coming by. I'm sure that we'll see you during basketball season. What about baseball? New coach, right?
Yep.
What do you see about baseball in the spring? I mean, obviously a 3-sport athlete, so you get basketball is kind of what you've been known for. Everybody talks about Connor Watson basketball. Obviously, you've made a name for yourself in golf. You made a name for yourself a little bit in baseball last year. You're going to do that again, I would imagine. So what's your thought process going into baseball with a new coach?
It'd definitely be different. We've all grown up with having Coach Boehner. Coach Boehner's been to all of when we were like Little League, you'd go to the field and you'd see Coach Boehner and everyone knew who he was. So it's definitely going to be different, but I feel like with our group of guys that we have in my grade, like this is the year we've been working up to, and I think we can be really good.
Well, Connor, I appreciate you coming and talking to us tonight. Hopefully the guys tried to make faces at you and stuff, and I got to give you some props. You just ignored them, didn't even look at them, and they did nothing for you.
Yeah, I think they gave up after a little bit.
Hey, Drew was claiming to be the star freshman punter. Who taught him to rugby kick? Do you know?
I honestly have no idea. He did come home one day after practice and told us that he was the kicker, so we were all a little surprised by that. So I'm not quite sure where he learned that.
It wasn't you?
No, definitely was not.
It kind of looks like a pitching wedge or something, the way he runs out there and swings at it.
Yeah. But I'm not quite sure where he learned
that. All right. Well, Connor, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming up. Good luck at sectionals, and hopefully we can talk about you making it state.
Let's hope so.
We'll be back on TSSR Weekly here live from Sports Corner at 124 in just a couple minutes.
We're an 11-bed ER.
At Country Financial, we enjoy serving the community in which we live, big or small.
I love living in the Blandonsville area. It's where I grew up, went to school, and decided to raise my family. I never had a desire to live or work anywhere other than in a small town. I feel lucky to help my longtime friends and neighbors with their insurance needs. It's like working with family every day.
I'm Brett Powell, your local Country Financial representative, whose door is always open to work with you.
MDH has committed to having a top-notch OB-GYN unit.
The new facility, the Dolores Cater Schweitzer Women's Center, this is a quality facility that the patients need to match the quality of care.
And then we also have a new clinic, which is state-of-the-art.
And here at McDonough, we have a team. And everybody feels like they're a part of the successes that we have.
We have a strong team in our office and in labor and delivery. You will get the best care at McDonough District.
And welcome back for the final time to TSSR Weekly, live from Sports Corner at 124. John Burton is alongside, and John has been with us almost from the start.
Yeah, pretty much.
With TSSR Game Time Live when we decided to go on to West Prairie. I went to the school, and they said, hey, this John Burton kid, I think he would be good for you. And John's come on. He's ran a camera a bunch. Now you're doing play-by-play, and you were with me doing more or less color commentary tonight on a volleyball game that was full of really, really good volleyball players.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Both sides of the court were stacked with great players, and I was just sitting down with my girlfriend eating over here, and we were talking about just how well-rounded that Macomb team is and how good they are. It's not just one person that contributes to their wins. It's everybody as a whole, and, I mean, for Southeastern, it's really much of the same. I mean, their defense was on point tonight for most of the set. It kind of fell off there, in the first set a little bit, and then the third set things kind of, you know how volleyball goes with the momentum shifts and stuff like that. Once one team starts building the momentum, the wheels can fall off rather quickly, and it did for Southeastern. But as you mentioned, there's star players on both sides of the game tonight. And, I mean, in a way, it lived up to the hype and it didn't. None of the sets were exactly that close, but we got to see a third set, got to see overtime, and, I mean, even though the sets weren't that close, it was still good volleyball that was played.
Yeah, Coach Kerr actually said, when you lose, you say how good the other team played and how bad you played, and when you win, you say how bad the other team is and how good you are, because this was a night where at points both teams were really good.
Yeah.
And at other points both teams didn't play so well. And the problem is both teams are good enough to take advantage of that when the other team falters a little.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It was really – the game was defined by the errors that were made by the Southeastern Suns, I would say. They cut down on them in that second set and were able to dominate Macomb like I don't know. They whooped up on them in that second set, probably worse than they ever have been this season so far at least, and probably the worst beating that they're going to have in a single set until it comes regional time. But Southeastern, like I said, they were able to cut down on the errors in that second set, but the first set and the third set, that's what really killed them.
A lot of great volleyball to come yet for Macomb. They've got some big games coming up, none bigger than next Wednesday at Quincy Notre Dame. TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH, will be at the pit in Quincy Notre Dame. It'll be me, and I'm not sure who's going to go run the camera, but we'll be down there for that. You'll be at another huge game, which is historically a huge game, is West Prairie will be at Southeastern. Mm-hmm. So some really big volleyball a week from tonight for the teams in our coverage area.
Yeah, we mentioned before the start of the game tonight that outside of the game tonight with Southeastern and Macomb Q&D is probably going to be the most anticipated volleyball matchup of the year for this Macomb team. Again, you kind of mentioned before the game started that there's some people talking about Macomb's competition and who they've played and who they haven't played. And I think they showed tonight that they're able to hang with really good volleyball programs in Southeastern. Obviously, Q&D is on a completely different level from Southeastern, but it'll be real interesting to see how they're able to match up with that team.
Well, the thing is that's become apparent about Macomb is that they can do everything that's needed to win, right? They've got multiple hitters. You can't just take Kennedy Adair away. No matter how good your block is on her, Allie Thorman's going to step up.
Yeah, we saw that in the third set tonight.
Or Luke Karinen's going to step up. Or Taylor Adair's going to step up. Or Stortzum's going to step up when Adair's in the back row.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've got so many players. And then the defense, how many tips did they dig tonight?
I don't know. I lost count.
And Robinson, the setter, was grabbing so many tips. And granted, they're out of system, but they get the ball up, they get it, and then they get an attack somehow. It's just they are so skilled that they're going to hang with teams. And I feel like that Quincy Notre Dame and Macomb is going to be a great contest.
Well, I mean, it usually is for most sports. Obviously, if you're in the area, you know Q&D. Q&D is almost always, I would say, favored, especially when they play teams from this area, the smaller schools and stuff like that. But this Macomb team has really, really had a historic start to the season, I would say. It's been special. It's been fun to watch. And like we mentioned, it's not just one person. It's everybody, and everybody is so well-rounded. I mean, even Kennedy Adair, I mean, obviously you talk about the hitting. You talk about her on the outside when she gets those sets. But we were just talking over there. It's hard to find players at her size that can hit so well but also dig balls in the back row.
And she does that well.
Yeah.
I mean, she is not in any way, shape, or form a liability in the back row.
No. It's hard to find hitters like that who are able to do that too. I mean, even Amanda Stevens tonight, obviously we know how good she is hitting, but she has some trouble receiving serves in the back row a little bit, stuff like that. So Kennedy there is definitely a special talent, and then with all the pieces around her, Macomb could make a deep run this year, absolutely.
And the funny thing, we talk about Amanda Stevens as being one of, if not the best player in the area. She's a sophomore.
Yeah, it's gonna be scary to see her senior year.
You know, and then she's got a younger sister who's going to be a freshman next year. You know, and she's pretty good too already as a 7th grader, and she's going to play 8th grade this year. Southeastern has got a good wealth of talent. The difference between Southeastern and what Macomb is able, Macomb does it with 4 or 5 kids, right? And instead, I mean, Macomb does it with 2 classes or 1 class, whereas Southeastern takes the entire high school to get that same kind of success. But I'll tell you what, it is a lot of fun. Is now you see Abington Avon's one of the new pickups for TSSR Game Time Live, as they're going to be doing volleyball and football the rest of the fall, and then they'll be doing basketball, girls and boys home basketball games as well. So TSSR Game Time Live continue to expand as MDH came back on board again this year, and you're actually going to be the main play-by-play guy for West Prairie boys basketball this year.
I'm excited. It should be a fun season. A little bit of a shake-up. I mean, obviously last year you had a lot of the key players, Braxton Dunn, Luke Shirey, Brandon Clark, that are left the team. But it should be an interesting year. I expect a lot of players to step up this year for that West Prairie team, and they should be, you know, if they're not towards the middle of the top, I would say that they're probably towards the top of the teams in this area.
Well, we're going to find out, and you're going to be able to watch it all here on TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH. This has been TSSR Weekly, and I think we need to bring you in on more of these.
I'll try to be here if I can.
Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
So I want to thank Coach Rex Rote and Coach Kerr for coming over here after the game. I had a bunch of the Macomb Bombers volleyball team here, a bunch of the Macomb Bombers football team and golf team were here, and Coach Duncan was here. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight to Sports Corner at 124. And Johnny McKee is, I think, hanging back there. I can't see. He is hanging back there. And can't thank everybody here at Sports Corner enough for what they've done coming on board TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH. And this is TSSR Weekly. We'll be here every week. Now, I do want to point out, as we've got just a few seconds here, next Wednesday we will not be here. We will have Southeastern West Prairie on live, and we'll have Macomb Q&D on live. Right now, I think the plan is to do Thursday night. We're going to clear that for sure. But they are going to have a watch party here, right, Johnny? Yeah. You're going to have a watch party here. I just called him out. Just said, yeah, go for it. But we'll have Q&D for sure in Macomb. It should be a great game, folks. If you can't make it to Q&D, come here to the Sports Corner and watch it. They'll have it on the screens, and it'll be a lot of fun. They have $1 wings on Wednesday night, right? Is that right? $1 wings? $1 wings on Wednesday night. So what better thing to do? Eat some wings and watch some good volleyball. So for Kenny Suter, who was here earlier, for John Burton, I'm Dwayne Hewlett. Thanks for joining us tonight on TSSR Weekly. We'll see you next week live from Sports Corner at 124.